dream of being able to work for themselves. Even if they don't get rich, if they can just sustain the lifestyle they have, but they can do it on their terms, work when they want to work, vacation when they want to vacation, it's something that can enable a lot of, it enables a lot of freedom and flexibility. You don't have to live in a particular area. If you're a freelancer, you can live anywhere you want. You could go to some remote town in Ohio where a $500,000 or $700,000 mansion in Michigan might be like $150,000. It gives you the ability to move to an area that you love, that's economically viable, or maybe not even plant feet. There are people that love to just travel. Travel the world in an RV. But how do you stay employed if you do that? Many people have to be independently wealthy and have that all set up. But this opens up a big lifestyle change for people that embrace it. If you can get on the platform, if you can make money, and you have a system that works for you, nobody cares where you live. Nobody cares where you're going, when you vacation. You can live life your way, the way you want to live it.
So freelancing, which is everything you're talking about, is becoming more, should we say, socially acceptable. It's socially acceptable for a guy who's 30 years old to tell himself, I'm going to be a freelancer. I ain't working for the man. I ain't punching a clock, and everyone else out of my way, because I'm free. I'm freelancing. Is this like a hippie movement like in the 70s where the women are throwing their bras in the air and the men are wearing funky hats? Is that what we're talking about here?
I mean, you might see that coming through with all the AI evolution, which is coming in now, and we could probably see many people who would love to sit back, relax, and work at their places rather than traveling 100 miles or 50 miles to wherever they need to go and work, right? So there is. I would like to talk about a couple of points here, right? So one, you're looking at what's happening, the geopolitical tensions, right? So there is the oil issues happening everywhere, right? So people are being demanded to, make use of your home environment wherever possible to work, so that you can reduce the travel, right? So there's a supply chain disruptions, right? And on top of it, with whatever is happening in terms of the travel and what's happening with the climate changes and other things, it all adds on to the, indirectly, freelancing can help globally for different reasons, right? So it's just not about you working from home. It has several benefits. It's reducing, the office costs, the infrastructure costs for a startup where you can have people working from home, and then you've reduced your travel costs for your employees or people who are working, and apart from that, you get some time. There is a balance in work and life, right? So you spend some time with your family at the same time you keep working. And with what's happening with all the the challenges which we are facing with engineering talent as well, so that is where we should start pushing more and more freelancing and the fractional engineering side of it, so which could benefit quite a lot of people. Apart from just talking about, the startups or any other electronics organization, it can also benefit many areas globally.
So just wrapping my head around ElectroHire, and could we say this is a purpose-driven, purpose-built marketplace for embedded and electronic engineering? And it really comes down to 3 steps. I'm cheating a bit because I'm looking at your website, which is so attractive. I think you should have to have a warning. Adults only, extremely attractive website here. Adults only, are you over 18? Jokes. But it's 3 steps. I'm getting it now. Step 1 is post the project. Step 2 is review the bids. And step 3 is build and deliver. Could you take me through as a ignorant Jewish guy in Canada? Take me through the 3 steps.
Tristan, you want to go for it, or?
Yeah, how about you take this one and
Okay.
I have some things to follow up on.
No worries, that's fine. I can take that. So, what do you want to build today, Mike? Give me a quick.
I want a keyboard.
What do you think about? Are you thinking about any particular product you want to build?
Yeah, 100%. Let me get it. I'm thinking about something like a kind of like a numpad. Let me just kind of like something like a numpad. These are 3D printed little puzzle pieces. Something like a numpad where you push like the number 1 and like it does something cool. And I'm thinking about my 4-year-old daughter who comes downstairs and just like trashes everything on my desk. Microphone, kablamo. Laptop, goodbye. Keyboard, smash. And I was like, wouldn't it be really interesting if there was a girly 4-year-old keyboard kind of thingy? That's what I'm talking about for a project.
Got it. Right. Yeah, that's an interesting product here. I'm sure you can make lots of money out of that. And in case if you make that money, let's have some sort of a discussion later on about the commission model.
Right. Oh man, now we're talking.
Joking.
I didn't know you. I didn't know you were secretly Jewish. But after I post the project, how do I review the bids?
Right. So any new user, so we have something called as explore work and explore talent. So for the for the customers who are looking to build something, we're looking to utilize the talent which is there on the platform. So you got to select an option called explore talent. So you will be then presented with entering your user details, and it will take you through a quick small little form to enter all your details which is required to post the project, right? So post that. Within the, we also have an option to select our AI analyst called Ellie, which can help you to just go ahead and fill in your requirements. It can just give you a quick explanation or description about the project, what you really want to achieve, and it can build a complete requirements for your product, right? So that will then be posted on our platform, which is then visible for plenty of freelancers who are already on the marketplace. So they would that's when the next step starts. So they would start reviewing your requirements, and they'll go ahead and bid for it. So you are probably going to see quite a few bids at that moment. So then that's when you decide, okay, who are you going with based on your budget, based on your skill sets, what you need, and whatever is comfortable in terms of the region, location, where they are located. So all those things can be looked at, and that's it. So then you shortlist one of the freelancer and start working with them.
Oh my God. So this is like a turnkey solution for, as we were saying before, get as drunk as you need to get to come up with a firmware design that you don't need to build yourself. Hop on electrohire.com. Tristan, you have some add-on. You have a cherry on top. Yeah. What ads do you have?
Yeah, so Shannon talked about one side, one profile, the customer side. So now we can talk a little bit about what is the freelancer's experience. So freelancer logs in. We have a lot of plans for the future, but as of right now, they have the freedom to find jobs, to have them visible. We are working on making matches more smart, where it can be more automated, in a way where it takes into consideration your background experience, your job success score, which is a metric that I'll talk about later, where you can keep, essentially, it allows you to understand what freelancers are doing well, which ones may not be. So it helps you to do better matching, and it helps give the freelancers feedback so they can improve their score and make themselves more visible to customers. But in any case, at that point, it's the freelancer's job to find the projects that they want to take. They put the bid in. In order to bid, we created this thing called Sparks. And by using Sparks, it is something that you do have to purchase. It's really nothing. But the idea is to prevent people from getting on the platform that put bids in for the sake of putting in bids, spamming bids, because that's something that we saw a lot of. And it makes for a very negative experience because people were putting bids in for $1 on jobs that are like, maybe should have been $1,000. So it was obvious garbage. So to make the platform a better experience, we want only serious people to place bids. So we created Sparks to help encourage serious bids only. And then, of course, that money is, it's again, a way to keep things honest. So they make the bid. They say, here's how much I'll do it for. They put in a proposal. And from that point, it allows the customer to do their job and then select the candidate that they feel is best for the job. And again, right now, that's more manual, but we're working on making it more automated where we use the AI insights to help the customer choose the freelancer and help the freelancer find good candidate customers, jobs that they're interested in and competent in. And then we'll have a smart matching on top of that where instead of allowing people to manually fish, we might just say, here's a couple freelancers who we think would be good for these projects, and then vice versa. For the freelancer, here's a couple projects we think would be good for you. An example might be you're an electrical engineer, you're very specifically good at doing audio amplifiers, for speakers, maybe a power amplifier for speakers. When it comes to electrical engineering, there's a lot of different competencies. So if you design audio, that might be all you do, or it might be a big portion of what you do. So you're very competent in it. And if you're a customer and you need somebody to make a audio amplifier that doesn't have any audio artifacts, no popping, no cracking, all those things that audiophiles hate, they're probably going to want somebody who that's in their DNA. They've been doing it for maybe 10 plus years. It's their core competency versus another guy who does that plus 12 other things. So it allows the customer to be selective to, pick a candidate that might be more suitable, but it also allows you, the freelancer, to get more jobs that you're good at because it gives you more power to bid and more power to negotiate a higher price because you have those skills, you have the competencies.
Interesting. I'm taking all this in, and what about a discovery call? Can I hop on a call? What if I don't know? What if I'm not ready or I don't know what's going on and I myself am confused and I don't know, maybe a friend of mine's interested? Can I hop on a discovery call? Do you have that option?
Yeah, I think you're spot on, and I think that's already there on our platform. You should be able to just go ahead and book a slot with us. We will be more than happy to explain the entire product and help you wherever required.
And if I'm not necessarily got 10 years experience, but I'm curious about the freelancing side, mm-hmm. Can I chat with you guys as well? Am I worthy?
Oh, yeah.
We encourage anybody to talk to us. We're not going to say no and turn you away. I mean, unless you're harassing us or spamming us and wasting our time. But if you're calling out of genuine interest, and I do the same thing on my LinkedIn. I have people all the time messaging me, asking me for advice about how do they get into this or that. How do I become a firmware engineer? How do I do this or that? In fact, this gives me an idea, now that you have asked the question, about us actually adding more of this type of help in our knowledge center. So ElectroHire has a knowledge center that can be helpful for people that are experienced or not experienced. It can teach you about new technologies. It can perhaps even teach you about, where do you start if you want to be a firmware engineer and you know nothing? Where are some good resources, some good books, some good, material. But that's really what we strive to do with ElectroHire. And it's built into our strategy for the future to put a lot more focus on how do we help make people more marketable. So whether you are a seasoned engineer or you're just starting, we will help you learn how to get into your craft, or maybe learn how to perfect it if you're already in it. Maybe you have 10 years of experience, but you would like to make more money. So how do you do that? You do that by learning new skills, by learning new competencies, and our platform is being geared up to be able to provide more support. We are looking for academic partners, universities, online learning centers, and places we can partner with where we can help target engineers to these things. One example might be you're an engineer, you're an electrical engineer, you make $50 an hour. Our analytics says that based on your location, where you're at, your competency, and your years of experience, maybe 50 is just right, but maybe they want to make more. How do they get to 60 or 70 an hour? And the way to doing that is typically, you have to offer experience that justifies that. So we can help with that. You'll get a certification here, or learn this, learn that, go to college and take this course. There's a lot of different ways you can make yourself more marketable. So a part of this is we don't just want people to jump on our platform so they can do work and make money. We want them to improve their lives. We want them to get better at what they do. And what that does in the end is they can ask for more money. They can improve their financial situation. They can have more, they feel more, what's the word I'm looking for? I suppose they're more entrepreneurial in that point. And at that point, it also means that the customers get higher quality work. Because if we can improve all of our freelancers, and no matter how good they are when they come in, but if we can make them better the longer they're with us, it also means that we have higher quality work and more capability for our customers. So ultimately, this helps everybody. It helps improve everybody's lives. So in a way,
Excellent.
it's one of those. It's what you hear whenever you take a customer service job. If you take care of your customer, they'll take care of you. Assuming they're a customer worthwhile to have. For this case, that's what we're striving to do. I want to improve people's lives. Another part of this is work-life balance and some other things that might not be directly related to engineering, but we've long talked about, how do we add, maybe information in the knowledge base. Maybe we encourage some types of meditation. I specifically know there's, I know there's a lot of benefits to meditation, and I'm not talking about necessarily spiritual, religious, but even physical benefits. The benefits are all over the place. And doing that, but also just in general, having a better balance to your life. How do you take a break from work? And I'm probably the worst hypocritical person to talk about this because I tend to be more inclined to being a workaholic. But I understand there's many people out there that appreciate the life balance and need it. I myself included. So it's my own demon I'm fighting with.
Bad.
But that's why I understand it and why I can relate to it so well, because it has a negative impact on even my own life. And I can see that those that have that good balance, they're healthier, they're happier. So if you can jump on the platform and become a better engineer, find out opportunities that can make you demand more money, and at the same time, maybe reduce the amount of hours you're working, so that you have more of that balance, it can make great life enrichment. And if we can do that, we can help people out. Our customers are more likely to be happy with the work of our freelancers, and our freelancers will, more likely be happy with the arrangement and will continue working. So it creates a very nice positive feedback system where everybody gets to benefit.
Amazing. And is it true you've been pumping out for YouTube? You've been pumping out a couple new videos. I've been checking you out. I saw 6 months ago, 4 months ago, 2 months ago, yesterday. Is there a bunch of videos in the pipeline? Who's editing these videos? You have a secret video editor guy?
I think.
Yeah, actually, my son, who's 18, he's graduating high school. Actually, tomorrow is his last day.
Mazel tov! Mazel tov! Congratulations.
Yeah, no, we're very proud of him. He got accepted into Central Michigan University and is doing something with their music program and engineering. So, we're very proud of him. But to that, he's always had a affinity for technology and even things like YouTube video editing and understanding the science behind what makes people click and what really makes a video. It's more than just editing it and making it look pretty, but it's thinking about the nitty-gritty details about what helps to sell the video, and then how do you analyze the videos after. But he has a knack for it, and on top of that, not just a knack for doing the editing, but he's also a music composer. He does it as a hobby right now, but he's taken all his education from high school in music theory and has applied it. Now has his own Spotify channel called IRPY, IRPY, where he creates just some fantastic instrumental music that is just, I wouldn't be tooting his horn just because he's my kid. I authentically think that he makes good quality sound. And then applying that to video editing, it provides a nice kind of cross section.
There's nothing wrong with tooting out the love of a child's success. Mazel tov to get accepted into a beautiful Michigan university. And wow, at such a young age, pumping out video content and editing and music, and you have other people helping behind the scenes who've helped you build the website, and other advisors and wise people and the community. I see here, ElectroHire is not just Upwork for electronic engineering. It's not just a Fiverr for electronic design and hardware customization and prototyping. It's like ElectroHire the family. You can join the family, and the fathers of the family are benevolent leaders. They are not Mussolini. They are not Hitler. They are not, should we say, what's the guy in England? I forgot his name. He's not despotic, is he?
There are plenty.
This is amazing. What have we left out? Maybe can we rattle off some statistics for the numbery, geeky people out there? What are the stats like in real life when it comes to freelancing?
You've got some interesting numbers I've just made a note of, right? So the the World Bank estimates that the online gig work accounts roughly around 4.4% to 12.5% of global labor force, which is equal to 154 million to 434 million workers, right? So that's huge. That's huge, right? And that's just one part of it. And when we look at the some of the other stats, which can probably help us, why we need to help good engineers to come on to ElectroHire platform is right, and also for the customers, for the people who are building products. The average time to fill any role is around 63 days. Right, and especially for technical engineering roles, right, and that is quite slow, right, and you don't really need to do that, right. So if your product roadmap depends on specialist engineer, right, 63 days is a big risk, all right.
Yeah. Whoa.
And
let's open that
waiting
up.
2 months just to hire someone is a real business risk. Right, and
Yes,
by
it
then
is.
you would have lost good amount of time to bring your product to market. And apart from that, you can talk about the costs involved when we are going ahead with the full-time hiring, which is probably going to add you another 30% on top of their salaries, right? So if you want to build something and you're a startup, and to start with, you just need a prototype. You really don't need a full-time engineer for that, right? You could probably save, in a place of 100K, you could have probably spent around 30K and saved the 70K till the prototype, right? And then when there is attraction, when there is real progress, that's when we start converting things, right? So these are the challenges which me and Tristan have been facing across our previous years with our existing organizations and the other projects. But we want to make sure that, you know, that should not be the case for upcoming startups, right? There are plenty of startups coming across. They want to build something which is going to be useful for the society or maybe different technology areas. They should make use of platforms like this, and yeah, that's our aim. One of our aims, one of our goals, to enable people who are trying to build something interesting, especially in the field of electronics.
Amazing. I'm taking all this in, and you know what? It's so interesting. Just repeating that back. Wow, 60 days or more, 2 months to just grab a guy and get him to do stuff. And you have a roster. You have a hockey team. You have a baseball team. You have people in the dugout. These are North American sports. We have a football team as well, not American football. So the guys are standing, they're ready to come on the field. Why wait? And not only that, as we all know, I've said it so many times, even if you say, oh, I'm going to hire someone, you have to factor in the hiring costs. What if it's the wrong person? What about the legal fees to send them a contract? You have to have a signed contract. What about the accounting standards, and how are you going to, and payroll? Suddenly, you don't just hire someone. You have to interview people. You got pre-vetted people. You're saving a nightmare it would be to find someone. It really does take months. Or I could just call Tristan and be like, hey, Tristan, what's up? And Tristan's like, let's get going right now. What, 60 days? We can do it in 60 seconds. I feel like I'm ordering a pizza.
You could have the work done before they hired somebody, if they went this route.
Yeah.
But there's another area that I would like to talk about, and that is venture studios as well. So, one target of the industry that we're very much interested in is any VCs, incubator programs, startup venture studios, anybody who's in that space. We want to talk to them. And the reason why is, especially venture studios, this takes a big burden off them and is a fantastic way to de-risk the very beginning of a project, especially for a venture studio where they assume solely the risk to bring a product to completion. So using a platform like ElectroHire allows you to get your minimum viable product developed, quickly, potentially cheap. The nice thing about working on a global scale is your resources overseas do generally cost a lot less than in North America, for instance. So if there's a North American venture studio or VC firm that's trying to get to an MVP quickly and cheap, this is one fantastic way to do that. Now, let's say you're a startup, you get through your seed round, and you're now on your Series A, and you have much more significant funding coming in. So at that point, you might decide, well, now it's too risky to have unknown people coming on board to do one project or another project through the marketplace. So this is why we have our fractional engineering services now. So this allows you to plan as a startup or as a new company when you reach the right signal, meaning that you now have income to substantiate it. Now we can work out a deal, a contract where you have the same resources. You're buying capacity from ElectroHire to have people that can sit with you, work with you, whether it's overseas or even on site. We can arrange multiple ways of doing this to get your work done. And we also understand that, maybe you get through a Series B or a C, maybe you go public or whatever might happen. Many times you reach a point where it's best for your strategy to then build your own team internally, which again is something we can also help companies with doing. We can help ensure a smooth handoff with new employees. We can help through our consulting services with even building engineering teams and helping to find the right engineering managers and the right engineers, and then ensuring a nice trade-off between our fractional experts to make sure that you can, without hesitation and without glitching, go from being fractional based to having your own resources internal. So that we view this as we're here to help you until you're able to now run on your own. So we're here to help you learn to walk, to help you learn to run, and make sure that you're competent and good to go. Now, suppose you're a company, and this is another area we look at. Suppose you're a company that you're already a large company, perhaps maybe an enterprise, but you don't have electrical engineering. And there are a lot of companies out there that might be more based on, mechanical services, or maybe it's construction services, vehicle construction, building construction. There's a surprising amount of companies that have need for electrical engineering. Oftentimes they have to rely on buying off-the-shelf products that may be suboptimal for what they want. But we've seen an uptick in enterprise companies that are looking to fractionalize their own teams because they don't want to commit to having their own engineering. They need the same people to work on similar projects for a period of time. And so we are seeing an uptick. We are talking to companies. We're working with companies now where we can help them supplement their teams. And again, it allows them to stick with the strategy of focusing on what they do best and allowing the same engineers to come in to give them that longer term support. And it might, again, come to a time where later on they decide they want to bring in their own services, which again, just like with the startup scenario, we can help them with that as well. So we're not here to try to convince you to go with us and to stay with us and to always stick with us. We're here to ensure that you can become successful no matter what part of your company, what part of your business phase you're in, or even if you're currently an entrepreneur or a solopreneur, or a guy with an idea and you're flirting with the idea of maybe building a startup. We've talked about perhaps at some point working with venture studios and VCs to help make these connections because we anticipate a large growing customer base where there would be a percentage of that population who maybe are prime candidates for this kind of thing. And when you're starting out a new business, a big part of it is, what do I build? How do I build it? We have that covered. For imagine being able to go the next level. How do I get funding to move on to the next level? How do I really build a business, a company? So those are problems that we are currently looking to solve. What kind of partnerships, what kind of networking can ElectroHire get involved in where we can help find venture capital for folks out there that need it?
Amazing.
We could be a full service company to help anybody from an idea theoretically become a $1 billion company someday.
Incredible. I am, just to put a beautiful bow tie on this, it's just so interesting to be able to chat about all this. We'll have to have another session, a few more maybe, where we can go deeper into real, like, what is hardware or what is firmware, or go into some of the nuances there. This has been another session with you guys, and I'm just really liking the electrohire.com website and hearing the story straight from the horse's mouth, as they say. And I love on your website the FAQ, frequent asked questions, the events, the knowledge center, like we spoke about us, fractional engineering, discover the talent and explore opportunities. And I love how you guys are just so honest and genuine and real. What a rare quality today. So any final thoughts before we wrap up for this beautiful session? Any last words, gentlemen?
Nothing from my end. Probably I would go take a quick drink and go to bed.
Oh, yes. Amazing. Thank you for staying up a few extra hours. We're past your bed. We're past Chandon's bedtime, everyone. And that's the show. Take care.